I've been waiting in this crowd so long. Every face tells me I don't belong. Doctor said I'd never be made whole, but I heard faith still works for the broken soul. I don't need this.
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call I'm La Alahai Nawa Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Harakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who want to teach well, and a hearty shalom to the elect. All right, it's your brother Karadazai back again with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And the lesson is going to be called The Difference Between Knowing and Believing, okay? All right. And as you can see that the brother, William Bradley, all right, he has an AI image of an instance that happened in the Bible where the woman had touched the garment of Yahweh Shai and she was healed. All right. So before we get into that, I want to explain, all right, or show the difference between knowing and believing, okay? So knowing is based on evidence, observation, and certainty, while believing is accepting something as true based on faith, conviction, and or incomplete information, all right? It says knowledge acts as a verifiable map of reality, whereas belief is an emotional, often subjective commitment that leaves room for doubt. Okay. All right. Well, within this, we don't have any room to doubt because we know, all right, that the Lord is with us. Okay. All right. We know that through evidence, observation. Okay. The things that the Lord has done for us. Okay. And we have faith that the Lord will be with us until the end. Okay. And no doubt. All right. No doubt at all. And if there is doubt, you got to pray that shit away. All right. But nonetheless, it says here, evidence versus faith. Knowing requires validation, data, or direct experience. Believing often involves accepting a premise without concrete evidence. All right, I believe that I'm going to be delivered in the time of Jacob's trouble. I believe that the Lord is going to beat me up in the chariot. Do I have any evidence of that? No. All right, but what I do have evidence is that the scriptures say that there's going to be 144,000 men, all right, that are of the Lord's elect that are going to be delivered. And I believe that I'm one of those men, okay? All right, I believe that, all right? Do I have any concrete evidence of that? No. But my belief is a driving factor in me knowing, okay? All right, in me knowing. And I say I know because the Lord has delivered me from all kind of things, man, okay? All kind of shit, all right? And I'm believing that he'll deliver me in the times to come, okay? Based on experience, direct experience, okay? But the lady that was in that video with touching the Lord's garment, she had faith and she knew, okay? All right, she had faith and she knew, all right? So this is Mark chapter 5 and verse 25 in the KJV, so it's on the right hand side. I got to figure out how to switch them. But anyway, nonetheless, it says a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and nothing was bettered, but rather grew worse. When she had heard of Yahushai, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. Before I continue, this is what Yahushua is doing for the Lord, his people, all right? Cleansing them, making them whole, all right? Because I'm just speaking as a man here. She had this issue of blood for 12 years, and we are compared to the Lord's, the elect are compared to a woman for the Lord as his bride. Okay, and me saying that is the Lord's going to clear and cleanse his elect as he did the blood of this woman. Now, this is just me speaking as a man. This is just me speaking as a man. So like it, hold on. So, let me go back down. It says, for she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. All right. So if I'm gonna go back up to verse 27. When she heard of Yahushua, she heard about the Lord. She heard about what the Lord has done. All right. That goes into knowing. All right. Evidence, observation, and certainty. All right. She heard about what the Lord did. She has had evidence about what the Lord did because of the people talking in the streets. Maybe she saw one of his miracles. Okay. So she knew the Lord could heal. Okay. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was plagued. She was healed of that plague. And Yahushua, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about the press and said, who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou, who touched me? And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what that was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. Let's look at this word knowing, because it came up twice. All right, the word is I do.
Strong's G 1492.
Strong's G 1492. Ido.
All right, so it says to perceive with the eyes, perceive by any other senses, to notice, discern, discover. All right, and you do that by experience, observation. Okay, and I forgot what the other one was, and certainty. Okay, and she, within her body, her blood was cured, and she knew that because she felt it. All right. So the same thing happens to you when you know something's going to happen to you. In the instant, you can feel it, right? And you have had an experience before to where, you know, whether it be good or bad, something happens to you, but you've had an experience before where you know in any instance, hey, the Lord can deliver me. Or for myself, when I go out there to preach, sometimes I'll be thinking to myself, hey, you know, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I know in the back of my mind, right, that the Lord's going to give me the spirit to speak on what it is I need to speak on when I'm out there. So guess what? In the act of faith, I get out there and open up the scriptures and start speaking, okay? Because faith is what? What is it? Faith is, like he says in Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, okay? All right? But let's see. Going down to verse 34, it says, and he said unto her, daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague. All right, so let's look at this word faith here. Because the Lord is going to make us whole. The whole nation of Israel is going to be whole, complete, perfect, eventually in the kingdom. All right, but you want to be that way when the Lord comes and delivers his people. You want to be one of those individuals, right? It says conviction of the truth of anything, belief. Let's look at this word belief. I know belief or believe sometimes can be quoted as to accept, to think something to be true. An acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. Trust, faith, confidence in someone or something. All right. So we have trust, faith, confidence in Yahweh Shemel Shai. It's because she heard about the Lord and the miracles that he was doing. She had faith that if she touched but his garment, she would be healed. If she had faith that she touched his hand, or if she touched his shoulder, all right, she would be healed. If she thought those things in her mind and it was written in that case, she would still be healed because she believed it, because of what she heard, right? Because of what she had observation with, because of what she have seen or had an experience with, okay? It says here in the New Testament of a conviction or belief respecting man's relationship to Yahweh and divine things, generally with the included idea of trust and holy favor born of faith and joined with it, of Yahweh, relating to Yahweh, the conviction that Yahweh exists and the creator and ruler of all things, the provider and bestower of eternal salvation through Hamashiach. That's true. You got to believe that. Relating to Hamashiach, it says a strong and welcome conviction of the belief that Yahweh Shai is the Messiah, through whom we obtain eternal salvation in the kingdom of Yahweh. And that's true. All right. A belief with the predominant idea of trust or confidence, whether in Yahweh or Hamashiach, springing from faith. All right, let's see. Faith. Oh, we already did this, right? No. Belief is what I did. Faith, it says complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Strong belief in the doctrines of religion based on spiritual conviction rather than proof. All right. And the lady, she didn't have any physical proof that she would be healed, but she said, if I may touch but his garment, I'll be whole. And she was made whole. Okay. This is just some of what ChatGTP pulled up for me. I asked, explain the difference between knowing and believing. At surface level, knowing and believing often get used interchangeably, but they operate very differently, especially in philosophy, psychology, and theology. Knowing, epistemic certainty, says to know something typically means it is true, you have sufficient evidence or justification, and it says you have confidence grounded in proof or direct experience, okay? So everybody should have direct experience that the Lord's going to deliver them, because the Lord has delivered you and kept you safe in many instances, okay? And I, while I was going over in my head, things to talk about in regards to this lesson, I was listening to the brother Elder Kazak's video about fearing the Lord. And there was this man he spoke about, I can't remember his name, Carl Jung or something like that. They asked him, and this is what the brother had recited from what he may have heard or saw in the video. They asked the man, does the person think that the Lord or God exists? And the man says, I know that God exists. And he has had some type of experience, all right, to allow him to speak in that manner, to where he said he knows God exists, okay? So he has some type of evidence or justification. And the justification for the Lord's existence is all around us, man, okay? All right. Let's see. Then it gives you, examples about, knowing. All right. Example, fire burns because you have experienced it or seen consistent, verifiable proof. All right. And you know that the Lord exists because you see the world outside before you. All right. That's constant, verifiable proof. Man can't make the grass like the Lord made the grass. Man can't make dogs like the Lord made dogs. Man can't make humans like the Lord made humans, okay? And I could just go on. The man can't make the sun and the moon like the Lord made the sun and the moon, okay? It says this is grounded in observation, repetition, measurable verification. All right, believing. It says believing, conviction without full proof. Let's look at this word conviction. Conviction, declaration, pronouncement of guilt, belief. It says a formal, that's somebody saying guilty. It says a conviction, a firmly held belief or opinion, okay? So my firmly held belief and opinion is that the Lord's going to deliver me and my family, okay? I don't have no concrete evidence of that, but I believe it. Okay. All right. It says belief. Oh, okay. Salakia. It says to believe something means you accept it as true. I accept that the Lord's going to deliver me and my family. This woman accepted it as true, as if she touched the garment of the Lord, she would be healed. It says, but you may not have complete or direct proof. And I don't have complete or direct proof that the Lord's going to deliver me and my family, but I believe it and I know it. Okay. It says belief operates more in the realm of trust, faith, interpretation, and inference. I don't even know what that word means. Okay, inference is a deduction. It says a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Okay. My reasoning and evidence is, hey, I've since June of 2020. Oh yeah, June of 2020. I've been preaching the truth, teaching the truth. Maybe before that, actually, because I know in June is when the Lord allowed me to join the Men of Great Millstone in 2020. But I've been teaching, the truth for 6 years, and I believe, all right, that's going to get me delivered and my family delivered. Lord will, I keep going, and then ultimately endure the trials and tribulations that is going to happen at the end. Right? That's my deduction. Okay. Example, you believe someone is trustworthy based on patterns, but you can't prove it with certainty in advance. Key distinction: knowing equals evidence-based certainty. Believing is acceptance without complete certainty. All right, I'm not going to keep reading. You can just Google this if you want, or upload it if you want. But the lady believed. She believed. She had faith. All right, and she knew the Lord was going to heal her. That's why she acted upon how she acted. Right, but that's just an example of the difference between knowing and believing. All right, you have to know that the Lord can do these things, and the Lord will do these things, and you have to show forth your faith by actions. Okay, because let me get this. This is James chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, what good is it, dear brother and sisters, if you say you have faith but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith save anyone? I was reading in the NLT, Salakia. But if you don't put forth any action behind what you say you believe in, how are you going to be delivered? All right, or how is anything going to happen? How are you going to show forth the Lord your faith? Lord will use edified to the next time. Shalom.